Yeah. So, Javon, I just wanted to welcome you, and I wanted to ask you if you could give us a little overview of EMI quality plating in Evans, beautiful Evansville. Tell us all about it.
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for having us. We
Hmm.
are big fans of everything that you do out here in this
Oh, thank
industry.
you.
So,
Hmm.
um, we are a metal finishing company out of Evansville, Indiana, as you referred to, which is southern Indiana. We're basically in this crazy pocket, not far away from Louisville, about an hour and a half, about less than 3 hours north of Nashville.
Mm.
We are 2.5 hours east of St. Louis and
Mm.
2.5 hours south of Indianapolis. So
Wow.
we're in this crazy little pocket there, not too far away from Cincinnati as well. So I'm just naming some
Hmm.
of the big cities that were close by. So it really helps us out with the logistics as far as getting product back to customers within 1 or 2 days
Right.
with
Yeah.
freight and logistics. But we do metal finishing, gold plating, nickel
Hmm.
plating, tin, copper, passivation, silver, and we do just all types of finishes that we have palladium. We do diamond coating, Teflon, selective plating,
Right.
low, mid, and high-phos nickel
Mm.
as well, EN. So we
Right.
have a lot of choices and options um, for potential partnerships with different companies as far as having so many
Hmm.
different specialty niche stuff that we do. So
Right. I was gonna
50,000
say,
square feet,
how many is that? 80,000 or
50,000 feet,
50,000 square feet?
50,000 square footage of space here.
Right. Getting back to where you're located, that puts you pretty much within a big radius of most of the country, the population, right? I mean, you've got the Midwest, the South. You can get to the East, so people are pretty close to you, right? No, that's almost a perfect spot sometimes to think about.
Yes, it is. And most people don't think about this, but Indiana
Hmm.
truly is the crossroads of America. I mean,
Hmm.
there's so many different cities. I mean, we're not far away from Huntsville, Alabama, which is only 4 hours away, Chattanooga,
Wow.
and, just some other cities around there. So, being in this pocket works as an advantage for us as far as just making sure that we're diverse. We can basically service so many different industries and get product back, which is obviously one of the biggest
Right.
complaints that you see out there in the industry is making sure that those turnaround times are fast.
Right. Right. Yeah, definitely. 50,000 square feet is pretty big. I mean, have you guys been adding on? Is that pretty much what you've had over the years, or how's it?
That's what we had over the years. Of that space, about 25,000 is about utilized. So we're
Hmm.
ready to expand and open up. We also have real estate around our facility, so we're able to build on and basically open up the capacity even more if need be.
Right, right. Yeah. I know your owner, Jake Stock. He's a pilot, and I've seen some photos of where you all can really quickly, very quickly, uh, get to a customer, visit them in a day, and then get back to work, right? You're not having to deal with what all of us normal people have to deal with as airports or cars or things like that. That's got to be a big asset for you all.
Actually, it is. It's a selling point in some ways, obviously. Jake is a pilot, comes from a family of pilots. His grandmother was a pilot. So, just a lot of historical
Mhm.
stories that, just a true American story that you can think about. And that does help us to our advantage to be able to fly in, see a customer, and fly back the same day. Logistically, on product, we deliver product to
Oh.
customers and, in the Cincinnati area that
Hmm.
needed them and some other states as well. So that's a great advantage to have to be able to give someone a product that they desperately need for
Right.
something, whether it's for the defense industry or something that's in the laser industry or medical. So that's an advantage that we do have, and we really enjoy it. And being in that smaller plane, you get a chance to just see beautiful America.
That's right. Yeah, a little bit closer to the ground with that. Mentioning
Yeah.
that, what type of industries are you serving? You guys, I mean, do you do a lot of processes? A lot of them are very specialized, it look like. But what type of industries are you mostly working in these days with that?
So these days we're working into the laser optics. There's a lot of like laser type,
Mhm.
direct bond copper type products that we're doing. Medical, a lot of defense stuff, aerospace and aviation,
Mm.
just to name a few.
Right, right. Yeah. Tell me a little history of the company. How long have it been around? EMI?
We've been around for 20 years.
Mhm.
Jake Stocks took over it about 15 years ago, and we just kind of took off from there. So it went from a rebranding phase where we had three owners to just Jake Stocks as the sole owner of our company. So
Right.
that's been very beneficial to be able to just deal with just one person. We changed a couple of spots around as far as positions and titles, and I've been here as the chief operating officer for the past 10 years now. So that's
Okay.
been great. Young crew. We had a metal finishing shop that was around for 50 plus years here locally that went out of business
Mm.
15 plus years ago. So we were able to establish a lot of employees from that pool. So
Wow.
that was good for us to be able to basically add to our resume on years of service in metal finishing. So
Right.
about 200 years of just metal finishing, between our whole facility and employees. So that's good. Obviously, right now we're going to the situation where you have to rebrand as far as employees and get new people and get new talent because you don't
Right.
see a lot of people in this industry like you used to. So our strategic plan has been to, and we've executed it, was to partner up with a local trade school, and it's a
Okay.
Ward County pathway. So that
Mm.
helped us out as well because we were able to get high school students that worked here as
Mm.
interns. And when they graduated from high school, we hired them on full time. So to get
Wow.
that fresh, talent of individuals to build a trade has been good because obviously
Mm.
we're not getting any younger. We're able to start training these younger people in and get them familiar with it as well. So that's been great.
Right, right. Yeah, I was gonna say you're chief operating officer, which interesting because you've got to know a lot about plating, but you got to learn a lot about how to run a business and those things you talked about: employees, recruitment, keeping people. Uh, that's is just as important. I always tell people who say I'm a plating shop owner, I say, well, you're a business owner first, right? You have
Absolutely.
to you have to run the business first. What was your experience before you came to EMI with that?
So I have, as most people, when I saw some of your interviews with
Hmm.
others that work in the metal industry, I started out in the hospitality management
Hmm.
industry where I was working for Marriott brands.
Hmm.
And I just had a change of pace, went into manufacturing after I moved here from Indianapolis and just stayed in manufacturing. I did
Mm.
outside sales for EMI plating, and I was able to, I was offered a full time job
Mhm.
working as quality. So I just basically learned, the hard knocks all the way up to the top. So I always think that I really believe that you have to start at the base
Mm.
level of metal finishing or in your
Right.
career in general to gain that respect from the employees as far as
Right.
I'll do anything that I would never have them do something that I haven't done before. I've
Right.
worked until three,
Mm.
4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I've come in at crazy times. I've worked every different department. I know how to make a good part, how to make a bad part. So those things are very valuable as you navigate through this industry, as far as being able to get new talent and teach new
Right.
talent, retain new talent, and just learn and grow about the new technology that's out there. So that's been good for me to just learn from ground level and work my way up. And
Right.
I also think that you appreciate it a lot more.
Right. Definitely. Definitely. Yeah. It's a tough business to run. I don't think people truly appreciate that unless you're sitting in the seat you sit in, where a lot of decisions fall to you. Ownership expects certain things out of you. It's a tough business. With customers and the government's trying to put you out of business sometimes. Regulations. I mean, they're all. Sometimes there's not a lot of wins that get days that you have wins, but when you get them, you enjoy them. But it is a hats off to people that, like you said, they have to do what you have to do because it is tough. And I hear a lot from other owners who say it's very stressful and things like that. So, and how long have you been COO for the company then?
I've been see 9 years now.
9 years.
9 years
Wow.
now.
Okay.
Yeah,
Old hat
9 years
then.
now.
Yeah.
So it's been a great thing. Jake is younger than myself. I just turned 45,
Mm.
and he's 43. So we still have some years left until that retirement. So, our goal is to ride this thing out and really just keep bringing the energy. We feed off of each other. We work well together, and that's always important too. It's
Right.
not a job when you love it, and that's how I feel. I like getting these new, exciting, R&D projects,
Right.
establishing relationships with the current customers that we have, where it goes beyond just the business part of it. You know about their families, about their favorite sports teams, et cetera, et
Right.
cetera. So that stuff really works out, and it's a partnership. It's not just a customer, and that's the way we
Right.
look at it.
Right. Yeah, that's if you can establish that you have them for a long time with that, and all the things that's going on. Like I said, running. You guys have reached a certain level of excellence and expertise there. Like you said, you're kind of starting your next set of decades here. So you made the decision. And I want to talk about this. You made a decision to add a machining operation. So tell us about what led to that, and what's all happening with that now.
Okay, so the background is Jake is actually a engineer by trade,
Mm,
and he has always dealt with CNCs as far as programming and
mm,
working in shops like that. His father owned a die casting company,
mm,
so that was something that kind of led into it for him. He went to school for it, and he basically started out as a hobby because he likes to code, he likes to make projects. I mean,
right.
he's a man's man. So uh, it what turned out to be a hobby turned out to be something that we just said, hey, look, let's just go into this. We started machining putters. We was doing some other side jobs and assisting some other machine shops on some work when they reached capacity. So we divvied into this. We got into this lane of golf putters, and
Mm,
what
hmm.
started out to be just kind of a hobby. And hey, let's just see, let's
If you can
just get
do
the
it.
fillers out there in the industry. Turned
Right.
out to be something pretty good. So
Good.
I enjoyed that as well. And we started playing around with some of the different finishes. So we experimented with, the high level gold putters,
Hmm.
all the way down to bright nickel. So uh, we showcased them in a lot of different places, a lot of like local
Hmm.
golf courses and golf stores. And I've been getting a lot of feedback from it, and obviously some of the posts that are out there are good as well. So that helped with our brand to expand it out a little bit. Strategically, obviously for 2025, the tariffs really scared the industry off a little bit. So
Right.
we're just looking
Hmm.
at ways to just get little small percentages of what is out there in the industry. So
Right.
we've always been successful, even through the COVID time. We were always pretty steady as far as business and what we had in house and keeping that
Hmm.
diversification there. When I originally started here, we were very heavy on automotive. And
Right.
obviously, automotive wave is just up and down, up and down.
Right.
Parts are shipped to other countries, Mexico. So we just decided strategically we would take a percentage of each industry. That way, if one
Hmm.
thing falls, we can go and pivot to this other industry. So
Right.
that's been good for us to just really do that. Our customers have done a great job at um, giving us new business by saying, hey,
Hmm.
look, these are components that we have finished at EMI plating. You guys got to try them out. So our customers have been our biggest sales managers that we've had out there,
Wow.
which is great. That speaks
Right.
volumes of some of our work.
Right. Yeah, I was going to say, if you could start, if you can meet, do what you promise, right? Promise what you can. You get customers who will appreciate that because, they just want honesty and how they're going to get the lead times and when they're going to get parts back and things like that. And yeah, that's great with that. Well, getting back to the golf thing. So, is that the only thing that you're machining now? I know you get variations of this, and you've had it for about what, over a year now, right? Is that how
It's
long
been
you've
a little
been?
bit less than a year. Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. And like I said, you're selling. Is it just basically online that people are ordering these and getting them from you? Is how's that work?
So we just started our website, the www.emiplating.com, where you can customize, some
Mm,
of the options that you would like on that putter. So makes it a little bit more personalized, but we've had a lot of local people do it as well. We've donated to a lot of charities just to get the word out for it. So we've been all over the place with it. We've had calls, as far as Florida and California to order the putters. So it's been very successful, and that's how you can get them, or you can call here to EMI Plating and you can order one.
Right. Was kind of the goal to let people know that you could do machining, and this is one way to kind of show them. Is that what it is? Kind of that way, introduce everybody to it, or
Absolutely, absolutely. So, as we were talking about, just as far as expanding out the brand, one of the things that we wanted to, I guess, capture is that we can machine a part and walk it within a couple of feet and start the plating process of,
right?
we do anodizing services. So we can do different
Mm,
flavors of colors that's on there. So we can machine the part, walk it a couple of feet, start the process of plating,
mm,
and obviously strategically keeps the cost low so you don't ship them all over the place and
right.
run the cost up. So we can do everything within our facility and ship it out to
Mm,
the customer direct. So
right.
that was something that we noticed that in the industry that it goes here, it goes here. So the logistics are all
Right.
over the place. So we just said, hey, let's just try to provide an option. We're not a big machining company. However, if we can get, a small
Right.
percentage of work where someone says, hey, look, this works for our strategic, goal of getting it plated and sent out to
Hmm.
keep the cost down, hey, we're all in.
Right. Yeah, that's one thing I know is that manufacturers, OEM, they don't like to put things on trucks and ship them around. They just want to
No,
get them to one place, right? And you own it. You own the manufacturer of that part. You then own the coding of that part, and then getting it back to them. And I'm assuming that's what your game plan is there, that to really get that where you're become a vertical one stop shop for them in a sense, right?
No, absolutely. So, I mean, our plant engineer, Ryan, he comes to the morning meetings as part of the whole brand. So, when
Hmm.
you're looking at the machining aspect of it and the plating aspect, the communication gets lost, right? When you're dealing with two
Right.
different companies. So now we have real time the plant engineer, Ryan, at the morning meetings, and you have the operations person, which is myself, and the employees and our team members discussing the same thing at the same time so it doesn't get lost. So we've
Right.
opened up our morning meetings with a little bit more, I would say, in depth uh, conversation and not just, how's it going with you, Bill? How's it going with you, Sarah? It's more, hey, let's hit the board. Let's start writing some things down. Let's talk about where our mistakes were, how we can improve it, and it just brings a different form of communication. And
Right.
these are
Yeah.
lessons learned that you get over the years of making mistakes, right? So it's
Right.
never perfect. It's never
Right.
perfect.
Right, exactly. And it's funny you mentioned that, is that, I've heard somebody finisher say, when they get parts, that have been, manufactured, and they often say to themselves, gee, I wish I'd been involved early on this. I could have given some advice on how to, you know, manufacture this part correctly so that we can get a better finish on it. And it seems like you guys are going to be right up in the very beginning with your customers and working how to get it machined and set up right, and then go right into the finish and get the best finish that it needs, right? I mean, it cuts out the middleman, cuts out a third party, does everything, and really puts you guys in a real prime seat to be a real big addition to that manufacturer, it seems like.
No, you're absolutely correct, Tim. So, one of the things, and I think everybody can agree on this in this industry, is that you may have a customer that may have a product. However, they really don't explain what the end use is of that product, right? So
Right.
they give you this print, you read this print, and you do it a certain
Hmm.
way, and it's like, oh no, this doesn't work. And then you find out later on down the line, they're going to solder this part. They're going to do
Ah.
this to it. It takes a high temperature bake. So, you know, when you find those things out, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This is how we would process that part to achieve exactly what you would like to do. We wanted to pass the test. We wanted to
Right.
go through the salt fog, and I'm just using examples. But, that's the best part about the engagement of just having that machining on it and having the metal finishing is that you're able to get more questions out there to
Right.
achieve a good part. So,
Right.
there have been times that we've been able to pivot and avoid disaster by learning more about the product and what the end use is. So, that kind
Right.
of relationship building is good. The questions change a little bit more through time and through history and lessons learned of that's not going to work. You can't use that because that high-phos content will
Hmm.
not work well with the particular part that you're
Hmm.
trying to finish. Just a lot of questions. It just opens up so many different pathways to
Right.
achieve a good part.
And like you said, you become an extension of that customer of yours. You're kind of their surface engineering firm, right? You're going to tell them, like I said, if you can get in early, you're going to be able to tell them all the things that you just talked about. Of, uh, you know, again, with the end result in mind, right? How that's going to work
Yes,
best for them, right? So you can kind of give them that advice. It's funny. Like I said, you all you do a lot of marketing with your company. A lot of shops don't seem to grasp that concept, right? You show a lot of photographs of what you all do. You give updates on what you're doing. That has to come from your prior experience within the hospitality, where you had to market yourself a little bit, right? And you guys have really done a great job of that. I mean, and
thank you.
that is by design, I'm sure, of that whole.
It is, and I think a lot of it is we understand now that this world is changing from just the computer in front of you to that hand device that we use all the time that's, inside of our front pocket or back pocket or inside of our book bag. So, staying basically to be right there with technology and in line with the latest and greatest. Everything is not in front of you right now. It's right there on
Right,
that phone. It's not in your office. It used to be, 5
right.
o'clock, everybody shut their computers off and they were gone. Now there's a, supervisor sitting in an airport somewhere that pulls out his phone and he's looking up the latest and newest thing, or he may have had an issue with the customer that he's dealing with now and maybe
Hmm.
looking for a new customer. So, I think that's a good thing to have the technology and always being on the go, showing what you have that's new as far as products, because we know that we'll hit the hammer on the nail with something that's brand new. We also have children, right? So I have a
Mm.
daughter that's in college. She's a freshman. She'll be a sophomore this fall.
Hmm.
And my children, they communicate through technology a
Right,
lot. So
right,
that's where we're heading to. There's not a lot of paperwork now. Everybody's just on a go. So,
right.
back in the day, Tim would have to come see Jovan and we would have to do this sit down interview, in
Right.
this chair and talk about
Exactly.
this. But we could talk to each other remote and get on with our day. So, our goal is to just make sure that we advertise what we do so people can understand it, because there may be
Mm.
someone out there that may say, you know something, I'm having trouble with this. This is a
Right.
new project we're working on in EMI plating. It looks like they can do some good stuff. So let me reach out to them.
Right. Yeah. It's funny because I hear all the time that these project managers at these manufacturers, they're younger. They're getting younger, and they've had 12 years of this experience of doing a lot of things on their phone, right? Looking at things on their phone. They're not like it was 20 years ago, where, like you said, you had to make a cold call to somebody to tell them who you are and here's what I do and everything. And but yeah, like I said, it's and a lot of shops, like I said, don't devote the time to do that, and some you all
Mhm.
have done. It's not easy. I know that it takes time. It takes planning,
It
right,
does.
to do all
It
this
does.
correctly. It can't be just let's just do it for a couple of weeks and let it go. I mean, it's consistent, right? I mean, it seems like it is.
No, it is. And I mean, that's what you have to do. So we're taking pictures of different projects that we're working
Hmm.
on and we're doing different finishes on. One day it may be a and one day it may be a matte 10 or a bright 10. The next day it could be a type 2, type 3 gold. The next day it could be a low-phos nickel. The next day it could be, a matte silver
Hmm.
because it can't have brighteners in it. I mean, there
Right.
could be so many different options that are out there. So we are constantly working on the marketing and taking pictures and, just making sure that we capture it to the world that we're just a small mom and pop plating shop, but we're able to turn around faster than a lot of bigger shops,
Right.
which is good. I mean, right now we're averaging about 7 to 10 days
Mm.
on work on turnaround, and there's some industry individuals that are out there that are 6, 7 weeks on stuff. So
Right.
that helps us out a little bit on that. Having the type of reputation that we do have helps out. So marketing our stuff is definitely something that we love to do and we have a passion for and we like to do it.
Right. Right. Yeah. Well, like I said, it's been kind of a busy year with the dynamic innovation starting up. What's up next for you all? Anything besides that you're looking at, or is it just things still on the drawing board, or anything coming up? Or
Well, we started actually a couple days ago. We just started doing some. We just invested in a laser engraver, so
mm,
we're able to do some laser engraving now. So we added that to the portfolio as well. So we
right.
started out with just something small. We all did business cards, on some
Right.
small aluminum,
Hmm.
blanks, and they have the QR codes because again, you don't see many business cards like you used to.
Right.
most of
Right.
the old school guys are dealing with the business card, so I have to keep them handy for that. But the younger guys, they just want to snap and go at these trade shows, and
Right.
lock in the information. So that was something that we're working on, and we're able to personalize a lot of different things
Right.
because of that. So yeah, we're working on that too, but we're always looking at just new technology, new plating that's out there. We started with some zinc plating.
Hmm.
So that's been something that's been new now, that we've been working on. So we're just always trying to develop new technology and plate it and get it out there to the
Right.
world.
Right. Like I said, with the laser, again, another reason parts don't have to be sent somewhere else, right? They can be all that can be done right in your facility and get turned around and sent back to people pretty quickly. It seems like with that. That's again another. Was that a customer driven, or is it just something you all thought this would be something we
It's
want
just
to
something
have?
we worked on. I mean, we're dealing with
Right.
a couple projects that have laser engraving in it. So that basically just raised the flag a little bit to say, hey, what if we can personalize this with a QR code or a barcode and make the product better. So that's something that we're working on. We're always R&D and stuff and just staying ahead of what's out there right now of the market. So we'll continue to do that, but we would like to add that to the services as well, which we'll start advertising, that we can now do at our facility.